Welcome to the Deep Dive. We cut through the noise, get you the core insights.
That's the goal.
Today, we are plunging into the pretty wild world of World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE.
Absolutely. A global giant.
And it's gone through this huge, kind of surprising transformation lately. We're talking a massive shift, from one big creative vision to another.
Right. With Vince McMahon out, Triple H in mostly.
Exactly. And facing these intense internal rifts, power struggles.
Mm-hmm.
But, and this is the kicker, hitting financial highs like never before.
It really is like one of their own storylines playing out behind the curtain, isn't it?
Totally. What stands out to me is just, how much drama is outside the ring?
It's fascinating. So this deep dive, we're going to unpack that complex landscape. We'll look at Vince McMahon's historical influence, his creative style.
And the current direction under Polevesque Triple H.
Yep, and crucially, this new, very public power struggle that seems to be brewing with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
We'll dig into how these different visions have shaped the product, the wrestling you see on TV.
And the company's just incredible financial success lately. Plus, the impact on the people actually making it all happen, the talent, the staff, often overlooked.
Right. Our mission today is simple. Distill the key nuggets of knowledge. We've got stuff from YouTube docs, industry reports, social media buzz.
A real mix.
All to give you, the listener, a clear, informed picture of what's really going on behind WWE's curtains.
Yeah, we've pulled some really interesting details. There's a What Culture Wrestling video on Vince McMahon's early failed ventures, his pet projects.
I saw that one. Good stuff.
Insights from Wikipedia on the, legendary Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of recent reports, Times of India, Screen Rant, Slam Wrestling, even Reddit chatter.
Reddit always knows something.
That shed light on the current power dynamics and, of course, the booming revenue figures.
So whether you're a lifelong wrestling fan or maybe you're prepping for a business meeting where this stuff might come up.
It happened.
Or you're just curious how a massive company navigates big changes, internal conflicts. This deep dive is your shortcut. Get properly informed on this unique, often kind of wild corner of entertainment.
Couldn't have put it better. So where do we start? The man himself.
Let's do it. Let's start with the shadow of the chairman, Vince McMahon's enduring legacy.
Right. When you think WWE, you think Vince McMahon. It's almost automatic.
Absolutely.
But what's really interesting, especially looking back, is that early on, he apparently didn't want to be the wrestling guy.
Really? I always figured he was born into it, destined for it.
Well, yes and no. He started promoting in '73, running Maine for his father's company. But he wanted out from under that shadow, He definitely planned to take over, but he also kept trying to make his name elsewhere, in broader entertainment.
Huh. I genuinely didn't realize how much he tried to branch out early on. Kind of ironic now. What sort of things did he try?
All sorts. Arena ownership, he owned the Cape Cod Coliseum for a bit, tried a stunt show, even got into professional sports outside wrestling.
Like what?
He actually owned a hockey team, an American Continental Hockey League team, the Buccaneers.
No way. How'd that go?
Not great. He folded them mid-season. In 1982, apparently there was a dispute about ending the season early, and he couldn't get a loan for like $15,000.
Wow. Folding a team over 15 grand. That's something.
It paints a picture, right? Like you said, the early, maybe jobber phase of his career.
Yeah.
Finding his feet.
And it wasn't just hockey, was it? There was that infamous fight, Ali versus Inoki. He promoted that.
He did back in '76, a cross-sport spectacle. Now, the plan, the story goes, was for it to be a work, scripted.
Right, a typical wrestling angle.
Exactly. Ollie gets cheated. Maybe Inoki uses a blade for some drama, classic stuff. But here's the thing. They apparently never told the Japanese side this was the plan.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Seriously. So it ended up being this super restricted shoot match, a real unscripted fight. Inoki mostly just kicked Ollie's legs over and over. Yeah, apparently Ollie got blood clots from it. And financially. A disaster. Jim Ross talked about losing money promoting it on closed circuit in Oklahoma.
And if JR lost money?
Vince must have lost way more across all his locations. A big money loser, partly because, pre-internet, who outside Japan knew who Inoki was. It just didn't draw like they hoped.
So these early failures, trying all these different things, it sounds like they kind of forced him to focus, like realizing his genius was really in wrestling, not just general entertainment.
I think that's a fair takeaway. It honed his focus, and eventually he zeroed in on wrestling, started buying out territories, building his empire, and that led to his infamous pet projects.
Ah, yes, the chosen ones who often weren't.
Precisely. Attempts to create the next big star, which often failed spectacularly. Lex Luger is a prime example.
Oh, the Lex Express.
Exactly. McMahon pushes him as this all-American hero, the answer to Hogan, loads of patriotic pandering, incredible hype.
The bus tour, the whole deal.
But then, SummerSlam 93, he faces Yokozuna for the title. And doesn't win cleanly. He wins by countout, doesn't get the belt. Fan interest just evaporated. Switched right over to Bret Hart.
Yeah, that felt like a real misfire at the time.
Then there was the Ultimate Warrior. Early 90s, Vince apparently went all in. Full focus on making him the man, even over Hogan. Crowned him champ at WrestleMania 6.
Huge moment. Passing the torch, supposedly.
Supposedly. But Warrior's reign was remarkably brief, always clashing with Vince over money. By 92, he was basically out of the picture for good. Never really took Hogan's spot long term.
Seemed like a pattern. Big push then. Fizzle.
And sometimes the push itself was baffling. I remember Mabel.
King Mabel. How can I forget? King of the Ring 95.
Ahead of guys like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. It was a choice.
Was popular before that, right?
Yeah.
As a good guy. Mid-card level.
Yeah, a popular mid-card babyface. But main event. The hype just wasn't matched by the reality. The experiment was over by the end of the year. Reports called his ring work atrocious.
Sometimes Vince's picks were just odd. Jenny Object Syndrome, maybe?
Definitely feels like that sometimes. Ahmed Johnson, late 95 debut. Looked the part, right? Thick and muscular performer. Lots of raw potential.
He had a great look, yeah.
Intense. But apparently, reckless inside the ring, stiff and clumsy, injuring himself, injuring opponents. Kidney problems derailed a planned WWF title run. Never quite recovered that momentum.
Such a shame when injuries derail potential like that.
And a more unique entry, perhaps, Fandango.
Fandango, really? He felt different.
He was. Didn't seem like Vince's usual type, but remember the Raw after WrestleMania 29? He beat Jericho.
And the crowd went nuts, singing his theme, Fandangoing.
Exactly. It was huge online. Vince tried to capitalize, push him based on that. But like the others, fan interest started to wane. And Vince, well, he got distracted by something else shiny.
The story repeats itself.
Yet, despite all these misses, these failed projects, Vince was still hailed as a creative genius, especially for his business savvy during the Attitude Era.
Now we're talking the Attitude Era. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Legendary stuff.
It really was. And it came about because WWF was struggling, right? Mid-90s were tough. Steroid scandal fallout, WCW kicking their butt with the NWO.
And TV was getting edgier overall. Shows like NYPD Blue, Jerry Springer.
Exactly. Vince adapted. He saw the landscape changing.
So this shift wasn't just random edginess, it was strategic.
Oh, totally strategic. It showed Vince's knack for tapping into what people wanted, even if it meant ditching the old formula. He pivoted hard. Adult-oriented content, more violence, more profanity, more sexual stuff.
Goodbye, say your prayers, take your vitamins.
Pretty much. They abandoned the simple good guys versus bad guys. It became about unpredictable and shocking storylines.
What were the key moments that really kicked it off?
You had Bret Hart's big rant in March 97, dropping F-bombs on live TV that got USA Network to implement a delay.
I remember that.
The formation of D-Generation X, and of course the Montreal Screwjob later that year.
Yeah.
All fuel on the fire.
And commercially, it worked like gangbusters, didn't it?
Unbelievably well. Record highs. TV ratings shot up. Merchandise flew off the shelves. Pay-per-view buy rates went through the roof. Vince himself said they'd give fans a product with attitude that would intellectually challenge them.
But his leadership style during this time, it wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy, was it? Reports mention a fear-based environment.
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin. Reports talk about a really demanding work environment, a strict dress code, apparently. Writers had to stand until Vince sat down, stuff like that.
Wow. Intense. That kind of environment. Was it necessary for the Attitude Era's creativity, do you think? Or did it maybe hold things back in other ways, long-term?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources suggest it was, well, a double-edged sword. It has definitely fueled that chaotic, unpredictable energy. But the pressure was immense, probably contributed to burnout, high turnover, created a certain culture.
A culture that maybe contrasts sharply with what came next.
Exactly. Which brings us to the current era, under Triple H Paul Levesque. He stepped in as chief content officer in 2022 after Vince left amid those allegations.
And the initial reaction seemed really positive, right? Like a breath of fresh air.
Overwhelmingly positive, yeah. Hall of Famer Bully Ray put it well. He said Raw, under the old management, had become extremely cookie-cutter. predictable.
I think a lot of fans felt that way.
But under Triple H, Bully Ray called it unpredictable, entertaining, mentioned different camera shots, different way they're presenting characters. He felt the company was operating at its peak.
That's high praise. Were there any dissenting voices early on, or was it mostly positive across the board?
Mostly positive, especially regarding the overall creative direction compared to what came immediately before. Individual angles might get nitpicked, sure, but the general vibe was relief and optimism.
And this creative shift, it happened alongside a massive financial boom.
An incredible boom, especially after the merger with UFC, forming TKO Group Holdings in late 2023, which also includes PBR, the Bull Riders.
Right, TKO. WWE seemed to be the engine driving that growth, though.
Hugely. Look at the numbers. Q2 2025 revenue for WWE, $556.2 million. That's up 22% year over year. And get this, it out-earned UFC by $140 million in that quarter.
Wow. Out-earning UFC, that's significant.
It is. TKO raised its full-year forecast. They're now expecting up to $4.69 billion in revenue and $1.56 billion in profit. WWE is powering record growth.
Those numbers are just astronomical. You mentioned WrestleMania earlier. That's been a huge part of it.
Absolutely central. WrestleMania 40, April 2024. The live gate across 2 nights, $38.5 million.
$38.5 million. Just from tickets.
Just from tickets. The previous single event record was WrestleMania 32 at $17.3 million, so massive jump.
WrestleMania 41 this year.
Broke even more records.
Right.
Revenue, gate, merchandise sales, sponsorship revenue, and viewership. Viewership surged 141% compared to 2024.
141%? How?
Well, the 2-night format is a big factor, obviously, effectively doubling the gate, doubling the exposure.
It's not just numbers, is it? It feels like WWE successfully repositioned itself. Less reliant on old TV models, more about these huge, premium live events, streaming-era stuff.
Exactly. It's a masterclass in maximizing event value. But speaking of that gate, fans have noticed the ticket prices.
Oh, I bet, if the gate is that high.
Reports say prices were exorbitantly higher. Bonkers was one word used. Front row tickets, $10,000, maybe even $30,000.
$30,000
Right.
for a wrestling ticket.
Yep. Which predictably led to a different kind of crowd. Maybe less smarky, fewer hardcore fans who know all the insider stuff. But clearly the demand is there at those prices.
Insane demand. And it's not just live events, right? Big media deals, too.
Huge deals. SmackDown is going back to the USA Network. Raw is moving to Netflix in January. That's a massive shift.
Raw on Netflix globally. Wow.
And WrestleMania itself is moving off Peacock, new 5-year deal with ESPN, worth $1.625 billion.
A billion.
Billion. That's $325 million a year, an 81% increase over the old Peacock deal.
Just for WrestleMania and the other big events.
Primarily for the premium live events, yeah, which is key. It allows WWE to potentially sell other content like NXT events, the historical archive separately, more monetization opportunities.
That's smart. Segmenting the rights like that, squeezing value from every part of the library.
Shrewd business.
Okay, so creative resurgence under Triple H, record-breaking financials, massive new deals. It sounds like smooth sailing, right?
Well, here's where the plot, as they say, thickens. Despite all this success, there are reports of a Cold War brewing behind the scenes.
Between you.
Between Triple H and The Rock. Ever since Dwayne Johnson joined the TKO board of directors in early 2024.
The Rock on the board. That felt like a big deal when it happened.
Huge. And this isn't some brand new tension. These two go way back.
Right. Attitude Era rivals. One of the defining feuds.
A perfect rivalry, some called it. Different backgrounds, right? Rock from the Anoa'i wrestling dynasty, Triple H the bodybuilder who pursued it relentlessly. Their latter match at SummerSlam 98, still amazing.
An absolute classic. But there was always talk of backstage issues too, wasn't there? Back in the 90s.
Rumors, yeah. Backstage heat. Talk of Triple H and Shawn Michaels maybe trying to undermine Rock early on. Whether true or not, there's history.
And that history seems to be bubbling up again now.
Yeah.
With both in positions of power. Playing out in the boardroom instead of the ring.
Seems like it. And WrestleMania, especially the last two, have been flashpoints. Real examples of their creative clashes.
Okay, break that down. WrestleMania 40.
WrestleMania 40. The story goes, The Rock essentially hijacked Cody Rhodes' entire storyline arc. Cody won the Rumble, was supposed to challenge Roman Reigns, finish his story.
Yeah, that was the clear direction.
Then Rock comes in, challenges Roman himself. Cody gets sidelined. It led to major fan backlash. Remember, #WeWantCody?
Oh, yeah, it was everywhere. They eventually course-corrected, right?
Yeah.
Rock turned heel. Cody got his main event.
They did. But the initial move caused a huge stir. Then WrestleMania 41 this year.
The main event finish, Cena versus Cody. Rock was involved, but it felt off.
Reports say his lack of participation or confusing involvement tainted the show for a lot of people. Fans expected him to tie up loose ends from the Bloodline saga. Maybe confront Cena or Cody.
But it didn't really happen that way.
No. The Rock himself later suggested the story changed because John Cena wanted to anchor it in his experiences with fans, not soul, whatever that means. So Rock stepped back.
That sounds complicated. Different visions clashing.
That seems to be the core of it. Triple H aiming for more pure wrestling, long-term stories, trying to build Cody Rhodes into the next John Cena, maybe.
Consistent character arcs pay off over time.
Right. Whereas The Rock, some reports suggest, is more focused on his own personal branding, mainstream popularity. There's talk of a god complex focusing on his final boss persona.
So who gets the blame when things go sideways, like the WM41 finish? Fans seem divided.
Very divided. Fans were not happy, that's clear. Some blame Triple H's booking, saying it's had potholes, lacked logic at times. Others point squarely at Rock's ego, saying his focus on himself messed things up.
Some even argued his whole heel turn felt forced by the crowds after the initial backlash.
Right. It feels less like a planned story beat and more like a reaction. Was it a clash of wills from the start? Did they try to compromise? The reports suggest more clash than compromise.
And the power dynamics now. Rock's on the TKO board. Triple H runs creative. That's got to be tense.
Extremely. There's even been speculation, and it's just speculation at this point, that TKO might be looking to remove Triple H eventually, replace him with The Rock or people loyal to Rock.
Wow. Is there any basis for that, besides the apparent friction?
Well, look at Rock's connections. He's tight with Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel, who runs TKO. He's apparently been best friends with WWE CEO Nick Khan since they were kids.
Okay, those are powerful allies.
And he works closely with Brian Gewirtz, the former WWE head writer who's now part of Rock's $7 production company. That's a lot of influence.
Definitely sounds like a strong power base.
And his board position comes with perks, too. Reports mention his hotel and travel costs for WWE business are now covered by the company.
Is that unusual?
For talent, who are typically independent contractors paying their own way, yes. Critics jumped on it as an example of, rich people don't stay rich by spending their own money.
So, connecting the dots. A powerful board member with close ties to the CEO, getting perks others don't, while potentially clashing with the head of creative. What does that signal about how regular talent might be viewed or treated?
That's a crucial question, isn't it? Especially when you contrast it with other recent news affecting employees.
Like what?
TKO rolled out a new severance policy in July 2025. It drastically cuts severance pay for long-serving staff.
How drastically?
Used to be about 1 month's pay per year of service. Now it's down to 2 weeks per year.
Ouch. So someone who's been there 20 years.
Gets less than half what they would have before. About 280 days pay instead of nearly 2 years.
Wow. At the same time, the company's boasting record profits.
Exactly. Plus, reports of increased workload across the TKO divisions, WWE, UFC, PBR. People doing more with less.
It's a stark contrast. Record profits, huge gates, billion-dollar deals. But employees feeling the pinch. Less job security.
It definitely raises questions about priorities within the merged company.
And creatively, putting the Rock conflict aside for a second, has Triple H's run been entirely smooth sailing? Or have there been other criticisms?
There have been other critiques, yeah. Some felt he fumbled a potential John Cena heel run in 2025, that it didn't land right.
A Cena heel turn is like the holy grail for some fans. Tricky to pull off.
Very tricky. Other criticisms include some dull title reigns, like for the U.S. or tag team championships, feeling a bit stagnant.
And the overall road to WrestleMania, the last couple of years.
The build-up, yes. Some described the road to Mania for both 40 and 41 as a mess at times, or that shit was just going through the motions creatively.
A lack of spontaneity, maybe, compared to Vince's sometimes chaotic last-minute style.
That's one argument. Vince might rip up scripts hours before Raw, which could be maddening, but also led to unexpected moments. Triple H's approach seems more methodical, planned out, which has pros and cons.
So the challenge for Triple H now is bouncing back from that embarrassing event of WM41's finish, finding more interesting angles, juggling big stars like Cena possibly retiring, while this power struggle simmers.
A lot on his plate, no doubt.
So wrapping this up,
Well,
what does it all mean for you, the listener? You've got this constant tension, right? creative control versus financial success versus how the actual employees are treated.
And it's all playing out in real time. What's really striking is just the scale of the financial growth. It's booming, even with all this internal conflict and these questions about the creative direction.
We've covered a lot. Vince McMahon's grip, his surprising early failures, the Attitude Era genius.
Then Triple H taking over, the creative shift, the financial explosion.
And now The Rock's return, his board seat, the friction, the power plays.
WWE thrives on drama, doesn't it? Inside the ring, outside the ring, financially the future looks incredibly strong with these new deals, record revenues.
But those creative battles at the top, the changes hitting longtime staff. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this world of sports entertainment, maybe the biggest drama is happening backstage.
And the final thought for you to chew on is, how much will all that backstage drama, those power struggles and financial pressures, ultimately shape what you actually see on your screen each week? How much will it change the show itself?